Smes. Today's focus is on digital transformation of MSMEs, and the session aims to deliberate on how the digitization effort is reshaping the functioning of various tasks undertaken by MSMEs to do the business, and how these can further be evolved to support MSMEs in becoming more competitive and efficient for both domestic as well as global supply chains. Today, we have an exciting set of speakers with us, two from government, two from private sector. And I'm delighted to welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Thomas Koshi, who's the CEO of Open Network for Digital Commerce. This is a company recently established with an objective to strengthen and transform the e-commerce sector in India with a broad-based participation from both buyers and sellers across the country, and it includes MSMEs. Mr. Koshi has a unique distinction of playing key roles in multiple transformation projects involving digital solutions to population scale problems. Prior to assuming his role as CEO of ONDC, he has served as a senior partner at EY in the government and public sector practice, and he was involved in multiple projects in India and other developing countries. And his major projects include Unique Identity, which is Aadhaar, Vaccine Intelligence Network, the National Digital Education Program, GSTN, CoWIN, and you name it, all the large IT projects. And he's been supporting various global projects as well, which were funded by development agencies like World Bank, ADB, in the area of identity and social protection. Welcome, Mr. Koshi, and we would be happy to hear your thoughts on how ONDC is looking to transform the e-commerce space for everyone who's in the B2C and B2B space. So over to you, Mr. Koshi. And before I conclude, this program is being streamed on YouTube as well as on FickyBite platform. On FickyBite platform, there is a Q&A option on the right side of the screen at the bottom. Please feel free to ask any question you have for Mr. Koshi in both the places at YouTube as well as FickyBite. Thank you. Yes, sir, go ahead, please.
So, Nikhil, if there is any question, I'm hoping that you will curate and send that to me so that we don't end up duplication questions and so on and so forth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great, Deepak. So thanks a lot, Deepak and the team from Vicky for giving ONDC this opportunity to present our plans and aspirations and how we believe that it's going to really help the small and medium enterprises. So before I go into specifically into how it is going to help small and medium enterprises, let me just explain in brief what is ONDC attempting to do. Because in the short period of time, I may not be able to give you the full details about how ONDC is working. And if anybody is interested to know more about it, we'll be, there's a mechanism by which we'll make it available. But what I'll do is I'll give you the big picture understanding of what is possible with ONDC, and then those who are interested to know more about it can, of course, reach across to us. Okay, so this is an initiative which has been sponsored and supported by the Ministry of Commerce. And it is expected to completely transform the field of digital commerce and make it a fully democratic place. It's very heavy word, so let's try to understand a little more of what it means. If you look at the digital commerce today and try to understand how it works, whether in India or internationally, we'll see a certain picture. What does the picture tell you? We have 3 or 4 very large service providers who together control more than 80% of the market. And they give fantastic service. There's been a significant amount of growth in digital commerce in India. But however, if you really look at the penetration of digital commerce, it's still at its infancy in our country. From the buyer side, if you look at the total, the procurement side, it's only about 7 to 8%. this year, the penetration of digital commerce. If you come to the seller side, it is even 1 or 2%. This market concentration is something that is not just unique for India, it is a situation anywhere in the world, whether it is in US, developed countries like US or Europe, or even other countries like China and so on and so forth. So how does this, concentration affect the industry? If you look at each of these platforms, they have fantastic end-to-end service, whether interfacing with the seller or whether servicing the client. But they use a proprietary technology. What it means that if you are a seller in one platform, you will be able to sell only to the buyers in that platform. And if you are a buyer in one platform, you will be able to buy from only the sellers in that platform. So if I'm looking more from a seller side, so of course, some of these platforms got a pretty large customer base, but is it the whole of the market of the country? The answer is no. Our country has a population of 1.3 billion and the market can be 700, 800 million, has a potential to be there in the marketplace. So even in the, if you as a seller want to enhance your visibility to the buyers, then you will have to register yourself in multiple platforms, 2 or 3 big ones that is there, using their processes and their technology requirement, and also comply to their processes and policies with respect to the terms of trade. And if you, like I said, if you want to be enhancing your market share, you will have to go into multiple platforms. Sometimes some of them may even have some exclusive arrangement and so on and so forth. And then in addition to the servicing of your seller, you as sellers, they may also have specific services being offered at a price for enhancing your visibility and so on and so forth. So what is happening? It is becoming like silos. And the same is applicable from the buyer side too. So what is ONDC trying to do? ONDC is saying that can we create a protocol so that every buyer in the digital market will be able to access every seller, and every seller in the digital market will be able to access every buyer. And each seller will be able to present their products and their terms of transaction and their buying and payment conditions and their SLAs and their conditions of this transaction. And only if the buyers are happy with those conditions, they will buy from them. And similarly, the buyers will be able to put their choice of what is that they expect from the product and the service and so on and so forth. But other than that, there is no restrictions. So what does it entail? I'll just going a little deeper. It is made possible by 2 structural changes that we are trying to bring in digital commerce. One is that we're unbundling. What do you mean by unbundling? You know, the transactions have multiple building blocks. If you are a seller, look at the seller interaction is one building block. Logistics is another building block. Warehousing is another building block. Buyer onboarding is another building block. Payment is another building block. Today, the integrated service provider provide everything together. In the ONDC world, these building blocks can be offered by different agencies. And the protocol which make them interoperable will enable the consumers get a seamless commerce without the market, without being exposed to any, if I use the word, fragmentation. And the same is applicable for the seller too. So let's go a little more detail. Today, let's say there are many agencies who have large number of digital consumers. Let's say the mobile phone companies, the telcos, the banks, the fintechs. They all have large number of digital consumers who are coming to their portal or their application for some services, not digital commerce. Probably for banking, probably for telephone services and so on and so forth. If they want to extend their service, extend to their clients digital commerce, they have a challenge because interface is very easy to build. Say that, do you want to search, you want to place an order, that's easy to build. But they will be able to provide this only if they are also able to sign up large number of sellers. So that becomes a challenge for them, and that's the reason they are not in this space. But tomorrow, when it is unbundled and they can concentrate on what they are good at, which is servicing the client, they will be able to provide this buying service exclusively for their clients. And there, when they are exposing their clients, they will be able to help these clients to access every seller in the market, which is a big change compared to the world today. So what it means is that these entities will collectively bring practically every digital consumer in the country to this marketplace. So and those consumers will be visible for every seller. So nobody can claim that they have an exclusive access to, let's say, 50 million customers or 100 million customers. Every seller have the access to maybe 500, 700, 800 million customers who are digitally literate, either through phones or computers and so on and so forth. So this is a humongous opportunity for the sellers. Since we are focusing a lot on MSME, I will just like to highlight their strength. Today their presence in the digital market is limited because they may not be very comfortable with some of the platforms' policies. They may not be acceptable by some of the platforms. They may not be savvy enough to develop the processes and technology to meet their expectation of this customer platform, and so on and so forth. Tomorrow, there could be a lot of specialized entities providing seller platforms. Let's just take an example. Let's say that a smart startup is trying to develop a platform, because a platform for sellers of Lucknowi saris, there might be, because he understands the market well, he's able to create a portal for them, he's able to give them market intelligence for them, he's able to provide them a lot more information on the market. But today's world, he will not be able to get them buyers, because the buyers are not able to access them unless they are a part of a big platform. So tomorrow, this in the ONDC world, this smart startup who has set up this application for the Lucknowi sari producers in that location will be able to expose their digital catalog to all the buyers who has been brought to the network by the telcos, the bankers, the fintech, and so on and so forth. So it is going to get enormous amount of support to clusters of specialized business entities to expose their clients, which are the sellers, to this large population of buyers. So essentially, the opportunity for them to be present digitally enhances. And I just gave an example. So it could be Lucknowi saris, it could be Tanjavur silks, it could be the artisans of Maharashtra. In fact, we just, as a part of the pilot, we brought the ODOP scheme of UP, one district, one product, which essentially brings specialized product from each of the districts under the aegis of UP Handloom, and they're making all the products available in this digital network. So this is the kind of transformation that we're expecting from the ONDC. So, while we are creating the digital rails, we are not creating a platform, we are only creating the digital protocol and digital support system for anybody to be on board on the network. We are going to take special attention to strengthen the small and medium enterprises to adopt this as fast as the larger one, which they will manage by themselves. So we expect to work with the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises. We work to help to work with the industry associations like FICCI, Philanthropic Capital, state MSME ministries, and so on and so forth, to hasten this process of their ability to take advantage of this opportunity. And that is a mandate an ONDC has taken. Probably some of you might be aware that ONDC as a project started a couple of months ago in big earnest as a company, and we had started this project work almost 1 year ago. We are now demonstrated that it works. We have started a pilot in 5 cities across the country, which is Bangalore, Delhi, Bhopal, Shillong, and Coimbatore, and across the country, with a limited number of buyer applications, bringing a sort of select list of buyers, 5 seller applications, 1 logistics player. And we have been able to test out a number of transactions in the field, and it has been sort of found successful. And probably some of you might have seen the newspaper announcement when Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal, when he visited Coimbatore for a sort of industry interaction, had taken the effort and consideration to go to one of the retail shops who had become a part of the ONDC, and was able to sort of recognize the effort made by them and see for himself how it is going to affect even the small businessmen. While we started with retail and food, which is the very difficult components in the digital part, but that is not where it is limiting. So it is going to, we are going to soon add more cities, more seller platform, more buyer platforms, more domain, more categories like fashion, consumer goods, home decorative items, and so on, a variety of items which will be interest to various kinds of sellers and buyers, and cities, and we'll keep expanding in the months the reach and depth of the commerce, including new domains like mobility and hospitality, and so on and so forth. So it's not just goods, it's goods and services. And this is our expectation and dream, and we believe that it is going to be successful. And ONDC has been set up as an independent company funded by the financial institutions, a Section 8 company, which means that we are not taking any profit. We will not be profit making. We will not be distributing any profit to any shareholders. We are like a utility, like electric utility, or if I say that, giving the foundational meeting the foundational requirement of the digital commerce. And as of now, we have about 20 institutions, which includes all the large private sector banks, public sector banks, BSE, NSE, and so on as a shareholders. And we have a very smart and agile team working day in and day out to sort of make this dream a reality. So this is the brief summary that I would like to share with you about ONDC. I know that we have another 10 minutes, and I would like to leave the 10 minutes to take up any particular question that any of you may have, or any clarification that you may need to have from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Koshi, for giving us the overview of the ONDC. I see just 2 questions so far with me, so I'm just going to ask you that. Someone is asking that if all kind of payments methods would be, or payments platforms would be available within the ONDC, can this be a problem for sellers or buyers in terms of having integration of payments of all kind?
It should not be an issue at all, because, for example, any seller can decide what is the payment that he's comfortable. He can be comfortable. Of course, digital payment will be available, UPI based and card based, etc. will be there, wallet based. And some sellers may say that they are comfortable on cash on delivery, so which will be enabled. So the thing is, each buyer platform and each seller platform can decide what means they would like to use and how they would like to participate. So in no way we are not giving a cookie cutter formula template for everybody. So it is left to the comfort and convenience of the sellers, and the buyers. So if you restrict, you say that I will only do cash on delivery, some of the buyers you may not be comfortable with cash on delivery, may not buy from you. I mean, that's the only way. But other than that, this flexibility is there completely.
Okay, great. The second question is being asked about in case of any liability arising, in terms of a bad product or return issues. Just like maybe this is relevant from a larger platform's point of view, where there are certain assured mechanism. So, I mean, who takes?
Very valid question. I mean, this is some standard question I always get. So Deepak, I'll go a little detail into this. Okay. First, I will say that if you look at today, digital marketplace is only 10% of the sales. 90% is physical. How do we manage? You go to Shoppers Stop and buy something, you sell your driver to get something. How do you manage any dispute? The seller on record is the one who has to resolve your problem. Okay. Even in a digital platform, any of the existing platform, I'm not sure whether how many of you are familiar. The platform is not liable for any product. The seller on record is liable for the product. Okay, that's very clear. If finally at the end of it, the seller, if you have a complaint, which a buyer application side, even for any platform, there's a buyer side and the seller side. We are normally seeing only the buyer side because we are the buyer community, but the seller side also is very much there. So right. You go to the buyer side and put your complaint, and the complaint gets transmitted to VP in charge of the seller, and he will talk to the sellers and arrange for the problem to be solved. Okay. There, if you look at, there are different kind of service levels in different business. If I just take an example of a hotel industry, okay, you go to a 5-star hotel, they will charge 500 rupees for a coffee, and if you just raise your eyebrows like this, he will come and change your coffee, because his expectation about his service and his offer of service is different, and he charges a different price point. Whereas if we go to the dabbawala and say that I want to have a coffee, he will give you a 24%. Son, this is what I make. If you like it, you take it. Otherwise, don't take it. So the market needs all kinds of sellers and all kinds of buyers. There could be a case. So you would see some cases, there could be some very privileged buying application. Look at the buyer application. Think like, Deepak, you are setting up a buyer application. You don't have any seller in your hand. Your sellers are not giving you any special money. No, nothing. You can't even ask them to push their product and take some money, because you don't even know who the seller is. Who is your client? Only the buyer. Sometimes you say that I'm going to set up this buyer application for this privileged set of buyers who are very demanding. So when those people, you will say, when you broadcast your buyer's interest to the network, you'll say, I will settle the money only after 30 days. If you don't like that terms of trade, don't even come to this. Don't even make an offer. So people who are not comfortable will not do. And then what you will do is you will hold probably 80% of the money with you. And if there is a complaint, you will just give the money back to the customer and say, Dekho, seller, you suffer it. I'm going to just deduct it from your what I was supposed to pay. There could be another case. You might say that, see, I'm going to run a discount store. So you will announce no return policy or 1-day return policy. Okay. And no discount. So only such sellers will come. So what I'm going to say is ONDC will provide for different kinds of buyers, and different sellers come with their expectations of the product quality, and the service level expectation. That is one dimension. Second dimension is what is ONDC will do to bring a discipline to this community. One is, it's not a flea market. Anybody cannot come and just start selling. So any buyer application and any seller application who come to the system will have to first establish themselves to a minimum KYC. Then they have to get their application tested for the compliance of their applications to the protocol that is designed. Then they will sign an agreement wherein they will say that they are agreeable to all conditions of the community, which are present now and which will be continuously evolved based on how the community, the community gets sophisticated. And it will also have this protocol will have not just payment condition or sales condition. It will have a behavior, how the transaction has to be done. The policies, network policies is embedded in the protocol. What it means is that you will be able to track compliance to this protocol seamlessly. Okay. And if then it will also will do a reputation tracking of the seller applications and the product. And that will be published. Now, imagine that you have a complaint. You will again go to the same, let's assume that, Vodafone gave you a buyer application. He wants to keep you happy. You will raise your complaint to Vodafone. It will immediately go to the seller side. Now look at the seller platform. Deepak, if you're running the seller platform for Lucknowi Silk, you would know that if you don't service your clients, you're going to be blacklisted in the community. You have a more compulsion than in the early stage because you have no captive consumers. If you get the reputation bad, you will be dead. So you will be very careful about yourself and the sellers that you bring. So if you really look at, I'm just briefly saying, this is a self-correcting model eventually. In the existing model, it is something that will bring about concentration. Even if whereas this model will bring more competition, more innovation, more compulsion for good behavior. If you don't add, those people just die. Okay. So because of these things, we can eventually expect much better behavior from the buyer and seller. Because even like I said, a reputation, like if you, Deepak may set up a shop with a GSTN number in one platform, tomorrow he'll say, close and I'm going somewhere else. No, your reputation will follow, good and bad. Okay. So in that way, if you are a long-term player, you will never want it to be there. But then at the end of it, the legal framework is the same today with ONDC, without ONDC. But what we are doing, we are going to go one step forward in the next 7 to 8 months' time. We are going to have an online dispute resolution framework and the platform with the digital tracking of all these things. So we will expect a lot of problems get resolved by the participants. And finally, if it doesn't work, they can go for the legal framework, which I don't think will become an essential, except some few cases. And similarly, we will also publish, in addition to reputation, say Deepak Mukhi's seller platform has a lot of problems. In the last, I had 100 grievance came, 80 of them got resolved, 20 of them went into dispute. Okay. So it is, whereas Koshi's platform is having 70 of them getting a dispute. So the buyer will know, I will rather go to Deepak than to Koshi. So this kind of thing is what is going to create compulsion, because nobody can guarantee. Finally, product responsibility is the seller on record. Okay. Currently, we are so used to thinking platform providing 5-star service to 5-star clients, which forms only 2 or 3% of our country's population. That is the way we have to change our mental models. That's the thought I want to share, Deepak.
Sure, thank you. I think dispute resolution you have already answered. Jen, was one last question, because we are also on the clock. So because this is a new setup, new initiative, MSME would want to understand that how ONDC will handhold them in terms of onboarding and connecting. So technical support and any other support. Will you have enough bandwidth and enough resources to do that pan India, because you're looking at including thousands and thousands of people coming and joining on this. So how do
that's why we are going to work with the MSME Ministry, NABARD, SIDBI, Philanthropy Capital, we will give them the framework and the material and the technical support, etc., so that they can expand that reach to large number of. And we are also expecting that industry association, for example, even if you look at it, the same Plastic Manufacturers Association of Ambattur can come together and bring everybody into a platform, and they will be able to have the support coming from the technical support coming from the artifacts already provided. And you would also see a lot of startups coming up with this idea, because it's not a huge investment. Even that is what is going to become a big difference. There will be smart youngsters, startup agencies coming and say, he'll go to Ambattur and say, guys, I'll help you out. Okay. So we are expecting that kind of a wholesale retail approach, because like I said, this is not anybody's father's property. It's an open network with open specification.
Great. Good to know. I think this is a good beginning. And surely we needed something like this to address a very large population, or the buyer seller community, which probably may not get benefited with the existing setup, or may not have enough sort of mileage through that particular setup. So I think I'll just one more time check if there is any other question. Otherwise,
I think you're out of time, Deepak.
Yeah, Deepak, just one question I would like to ask. This is Hemant from FICCI Delhi office. With regard to, is this the platform of listing of companies and then they get diverted to this sector?
This is not a platform. This is a network.
Yeah. So in this network, do you think that the for example, for MSMEs, they need to list in this, and then whoever is visiting, how does it work in terms of when you're connecting?
If I just give a simple example, think like there will be buyer. Let's think about only buyer and seller. Think like, for example, my first pilot buyer platform is Paytm, or it could be PhonePe, it could be anybody creating a buyer platform, which will allow the buyers to come and place their interest search. And this buyer platform will broadcast their interest through a gateway to all sellers who are there in the network. So the sellers, when they get the different requests, they will all respond. There will be 10 people who will be responding, and the buyer will make a choice. When the buyer make a choice, a digital contract gets established between the buyer platform and the seller platform, and then they will make the payment and so on and so forth. So it's not a listing service; it's something help you to complete your transaction. See, except you are familiar with the, let's say, existing platforms, now whether it is Amazon, only different, or Flipkart. It will go exactly like this. Okay. Only thing is that you might use the buyer platform of Flipkart, and you might be accessing the sellers who are there in the Reliance, or sellers who are there in a small platform made by the Lucknowi Silk Association.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I think thank you, Mr. Koshi, for giving the overview on ONDC. It's a new baby, I think, and needs more care and support. And FICCI, as usual, has been supporting similar efforts of Government of India, and we'll be happy to continue supporting this. And thank you also for answering some of these questions. And we hope that we can have maybe few more interactive session later on.
Deepak, if anybody wants to have more, ondc.org is the website. Okay. And every Tuesday we do a session where you can register and have actually longish 1.5 hour session for the business and tech people to understand. At this point of time, I think people would have said, opportunity hai. But kaise hai?
Yeah, that needs to be understood.
The team can go and listen to that.
Great.
Then after that, then register, and they get a continuous handholding support, digital handholding support.
Great. I think we'll be happy to support that. Maybe any communication, we will happy to share it with among our network. So thank you very much, Mr. Koshi, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to our second presentation, which is on Government Marketplace. As you would know that procurement has been is being handled by GEM for last many years, and it's been improving, and multiple changes are being brought based on the suggestions of sellers. And also actually from the CPSE side. So we would today hear from Nikhil Patil, who's the regional representative here in Maharashtra on GEM, that how's GEM progressing, and how it has, based on various feedback, changed, its interface, its processes over the years. We have been promoting GEM for last 4-5 years. I've been attached with GEM for doing promotional program for so many years. And every time we meet, there is some change, which has been brought to help both the sides, whether it's buyer or seller. So I invite Mr. Nikhil Patil to share his presentation on Government Marketplace. Nikhil, over to you.
Okay, sir. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sir. First of all, thanks a lot, Vicky, for the giving me an opportunity to speak on GEM. So let me share my presentation. So I believe my presentation is visible to all. Can you please confirm?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for the confirmation. So very good afternoon, all. And special thank to Deepak sir, who has been in touch since long time and actually promoting a GEM since many years, you can say for more than 4 years actually. Okay, so what is GEM? So GEM, it's a platform wherein vendors can come and sell their products and services. So it is open to all. It can be OEMs, it can be resellers, traders, and we have a you can say special things, concessions, you can say, for the MSME. So I'll be discussing today that as well. So even I'll discussing the new functionalities which is launched 1.5 years of time. Okay, so myself, Nikhil Patil, I'm a business facilitator of a GEM, Maharashtra State. So I'll be looking after state government as well as central government. Okay, and even the vendors. So as you can see on the screen, GEM, it's a one-stop online procurement portal for all government buyers, including central, state ministries, departments, bodies, and PSUs. Launch on 9th of August 2016. तो हम लोग को लगभग 5 साल complete हो चुके हैं पोर्टल को launch के. So we are being completing 6 years very soon. So according to Rule 149 of GFR, that is General Financial Rule, amended to the buyer that procurement of goods and services by Ministry or Department will be mandatory for goods or services available on GEM platform. तो GEM पे जो भी products and services available है, buyer को, मतलब government के जो लोग हैं, government के जो officers हैं, state government, central government, railways, defense, उनको mandatory है इसी portal से उनको buy करना होगा. So basically it's a cashless, contactless and paperless portal. So why contactless? जब तक buyer order place करके L1 नहीं आता, तब तक उनकी details, उनका वेंडर का नाम और इंफॉर्मेशन, he'll be not able to see that. तो जैसे Amazon and Flipkart पोर्टल पे होता है, they'll be not able to see the name of the company. Similar way यहाँ पे भी आपके इंफॉर्मेशन यहाँ पे डिस्क्लोज नहीं होती till the time buyer आपको ऑर्डर प्लेस ना करता. Okay. So this is the basically initiative of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi sir. तो बेसिकली करप्शन को कम करने के लिए इस पोर्टल को लॉन्च किया गया. So I can say, you can see on the screen the current analytics of a GEM platform. So currently there are more than 60,000 buyer organizations registered on the GEM platform. Currently, sellers and service providers are more than 44 lakhs registered on the GEM platform, out of which 8 lakhs from Maharashtra state only. Okay, you can see how aggressive is Maharashtra for the GEM registration and to sell the products and services. Currently, there are more than 57 lakhs products are available on GEM platform, out of which 269 of service categories are available. Abhi tak jo total number of orders placed ho, that is more than 1,1,83,000. Transaction till now since inception, that is 2,55,815 CR. मतलब 2 लाख के ऊपर, 2.5 लाख के ऊपर अभी तक हम लोगों ने ट्रांजेक्शन पोर्टल पे किया है. Out of which in the last financial we have done 1 lakh crores. तो हम लोग एग्रेसिवली आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. एग्रेसिवली यहाँ पे वेंडर रजिस्टर हो रहे हैं, डिमांड भी उतना ज्यादा आ रहा है. तो गवर्नमेंट भी जेम पोर्टल से ही प्रोक्यूरमेंट कर रही है, इवन द प्रोडक्ट इज अवेलेबल और नॉट अवेलेबल. ओके, सो आउट ऑफ विच जो 2,55,815 CR है, उसमें से 56.6% शेयर एमएसएमई का है. तो एमएससी में भी एग्रेसिवली इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रही है एंड दे आर एक्टिवली सेलिंग देयर प्रोडक्ट्स एज वेल एज सर्विसेज. In terms of Maharashtra, the ratio is 63.3%. Moving ahead to the next slide, you can see the number of orders. आप रेशियो देख सकते हैं हर साल का. When we launched in 2016, there were 6,284 orders, right? So हर साल आप देख सकते हैं बढ़ते बढ़ते, and this year, last year financial, उसमें 33 lakhs तक orders पहुंच चुके. Similarly, in terms of services, initially we were having say around 10-15 services. Now we are having 269 services available on GEM platform. So basic services are like catering, canteen, manpower house services, cab hiring services, right? So these are the services available on GEM. The one thing I wanted to highlight, even the product and services if not available, आप जो प्रोडक्ट सेल कर रहे हैं, जो सर्विसेज ऑफर कर रहे हैं, वो जेम पे अगर अवेलेबल नहीं है, so buyer has an option called customized bid, so they can create a catalog by himself and publish on the जेम प्लेटफॉर्म. तो मतलब प्रोडक्ट अवेलेबल है, सर्विस अवेलेबल है या नहीं है, जेम पे वो उसका प्रोक्योरमेंट कर सकते हैं. You can see the current number of sellers and service providers ratio, right? So MSME seller count is 7.6 lakhs. That is 56% of the total order value. Now, when a buyer as a government entity tries to procure through GEM portal, they have a limitations. So direct purchase limit for them is 25,000 rupees. So if they want to purchase a product, say one or multiple, the price has to be less than 25,000 rupees. That is called direct purchase. For the L1 purchase, they have to compare 3 different brands and they have to buy the lowest one. For that, the bracket limit is 25,000 to 5 lakh rupees. More than 5 lakh rupees, they have to go for a bid. They have to go for a tender on the bid, on a platform. So, जो bid होता है, जो tender होता है, there are 2 types of tenders. One is intent of buying bid, and second is intent of buying PAC. So, intent of buying bid is only for the specification. मतलब जो product के specification है, उसी के ऊपर ही tender होता है. And intent of buying PAC मतलब proprietary article certificate, मतलब specification plus make and model पे tender यहाँ पे publish किया जाता है. For this, if any particular department wants to buy any specific brand only, they want to float a tender for specific brand only, they have to take an internal approval of the competent authority for the PAC buying. So as a vendor, you have so many facilities and benefits on the GEM platform. 3 are there. First is direct access to all government departments. You have an open option. आप यहाँ पे directly अपने products और services GEM portal में sell कर सकते हैं. It's a one-stop shop for bids, reverse auction on products and services. A dynamic pricing price can be changed based on the market conditions. So once you uploaded your catalog, upload your product or services, तो ऐसा नहीं कि आपने प्रोडक्ट अपलोड कर दिया, सर्विस अपलोड किया, you cannot change the prices, right? So कभी भी आप प्राइस कम कर सकते हैं, लेकिन बढ़ाने के लिए you have to wait for 1 month. तो आज आपने को प्राइस बढ़ा है, तो अगले 1 महीने के बाद ही आप प्राइस बढ़ा सकते हैं. Taking the conditions or terms and condition of the GEM. कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए भी वो फ्लेक्सिबल भी है और प्राइस आप कभी भी कम कर सकते हैं. स्ट्रॉन्ग वेंडर रेटिंग सिस्टम. तो जेम पोर्टल पे जब आप रजिस्टर होते हैं, आप अपने प्रोडक्ट्स सर्विसेज ऑफर करते हैं. आफ्टर दैट आपको जो बायर्स है वो रेटिंग देना चालू करते हैं बेस्ड ऑन योर एक्सपीरियंस, परफॉर्मेंस एंड योर सर्विस एंड क्वालिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट, राइट? तो जितनी आपकी रेटिंग्स हाई होगी, उतना आपका प्रोडक्ट ज्यादा यहाँ पे सेल आउट होगा. ओके, सो इफ यू हैव अ न्यू प्रोडक्ट व्हिच इज नॉट अवेलेबल इन द जेम प्लेटफॉर्म, आपके अकाउंट में रिक्वेस्ट करके टैब अवेलेबल है, वहां से आप रिक्वेस्ट भेज सकते हैं. It's a very seller friendly dashboard of GEM. अगर आपको कोई भी न्यू चीजें जो GEM पे अवेलेबल है वो अगर देखना चाहते हैं, तो GEM पोर्टल पे ऑन होम पेज there is option called new on GEM. You can see the latest development or latest things happening on the GEM platform. तो कौन सी कितनी कैटेगरी एडिट की है, कितने प्रोडक्ट्स अवेलेबल है, क्या क्या नए चेंजेस है, you can see on the new on GEM option on the GEM portal home page. जब आप जेम पोर्टल पे रजिस्टर्ड होते हैं, तो आपको यहाँ पे एज अ प्राइमरी यूजर रजिस्टर्ड होना होता है, राइट? सो अगर आप कंपनी के इकलौते मालिक हैं, यू आर द होल एंड सोल कंपनी, यू कैन रजिस्टर एज अ प्राइमरी यूजर एंड यू कैन प्ले दी ऑल द रोल्स. मतलब आप ही प्रोफाइल अपडेट करेंगे, आप ही कैटलॉग अपलोड करेंगे और यू डू द ऑल द ट्रांजैक्शंस. इफ यू द कंपनी साइज इज ह्यूज, अगर आपके पास सबऑर्डिनेट्स है, स्टाफ है, सो यू कैन असाइन योर वर्क टू योर सेकेंडरी यूजर्स. तो सेकेंडरी यूजर्स मतलब आप अपने स्टाफ को बना सकते हैं. उनका रोल क्या होगा? बिड पार्टिसिपेशन, प्रोडक्ट अपलोड, प्रोसेस ऑर्डर एंड पेमेंट कंफर्मेशन. सो दिस इज ओनली ऑप्शन अवेलेबल टू यू. इट्स योर चॉइस कि आप खुद करना चाहते हैं कि आपके स्टाफ को ये आप काम देना चाहते हैं, राइट? अवेलेबल ऑन जेम प्लेटफॉर्म. You can see on the screen the visibility of the portal is very transparent. ट्रांसपेरेंसी बहुत ज्यादा है, तो क्यों है और कैसे है, तो आपके लिए क्या क्या फायदे दिए हैं. फर्स्ट इज विजिबिलिटी ऑफ रीजंस ऑफ रिजेक्शंस टू ऑल सेलर्स. तो अगर आपको टेक्निकल राउंड में रिजेक्ट किया जाता है तो आप देख सकते हैं, और दूसरे जो सेलर रिजेक्टेड है वो उनका भी आप रोल देख सकते हैं कि रिजेक्टेड है या क्वालिफाइड है. आफ्टर रिजेक्टेड बाय द बायर यू विल गेट 48 आवर्स टू चैलेंज दैट पर्टिकुलर बायर. तो ऐसा नहीं रिजेक्ट कर दिया तो यू कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग. तो अगर जिस बेस पे आपको रिजेक्शन किया है उस बेस पे अगर आपने मतलब बायर डिमांडेड फॉर सम डॉक्यूमेंट्स और सम इंफॉर्मेशन, अगर वो आप देते हैं तो बायर हैज एन authority to आपको disqualify से qualify कर दे. So right, the challenges window for rejection at technical round is possible. Advanced bid search model to enable wider seller participation and diversification of seller businesses. Similarly, introduce user rating for end user to rate sellers based on his experience, as I just now explained the same ratings. So introduction by a specific additional terms and condition and allowing complaints, queries, clarification from sellers. Efficient help desk, the voice of customer initiative and revamp CRM system. तो हम लोग अगर आपको कोई भी issue है, if you want any information, you can reach out to our help desk and you can ask the questions what you want. Even we have a help desk team, a Jemmy, a call center, right? Everything is available. We also have a revamp and automated incident management policy. So what is incident management policy? अगर आपका पेमेंट टाइमली नहीं आ रहा है, if buyer is not cooperating with you, right? So you have in your account called incident nothing but a complaint. आप अपनी complaints अपने account से raise कर सकते हैं. No need to chase the buyer. Okay. Next, James Sahay, it's a app, it's an option available to you, a mobile application that James sellers can use to finance purchase order accepted on the GEM portal. Get loans offers from multiple lenders. The loan is provided completely digitally. Disbursal takes just few minutes of time. अगर suppose कोई आपको order मिला है बड़ा और आपको ये उसके लिए fund नहीं है उस particular product को, मतलब उस order का माल बनाने के लिए, so you can get the immediate finance from this app. So basically it's a paperless app. So access to financing means you can accept more or larger orders to grow your business. See and compare offers without having visit to or any you cannot discuss anything, and directly आपको app के through ही आपके account में loan यहाँ पे आ जाएगा, loan का amount आ जाएगा. So no paperwork is required. Sellers have got the loans in 10 minutes from the starting the process. So basically James says it's a big support to you. अगर आपको कोई order मिलता है, आपके finance नहीं है, तो immediately आपको loan चाहिए, तो this app is very useful to you. Moving ahead. So public procurement policy for MSEs. So public procurement policies for MSEs Order 2012 notified under Section 11 of MSMED Act 2006. Policy mandates 25% of procurements of goods and services for MSMEs, include 4% from MSMEs owned by SCST, 3% from MSMEs owned by women out of total annual procurement. So benefits extended to MSEs. Tender sets free of cost. First, exemption from earnest money deposit. Purchase preference for minimum 20% quantity to MSEs within L1 plus 15% on matching L1. And there are 358 items exclusively reserved for MSEs. Moving ahead to the next slide. A detection of anomalous behavior. So first, advanced analytics. So identification of anomaly cases using non-artificial intelligence. तो यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने एक नया चीज स्टार्ट किया कि अगर आप सबमिशन ऑफ बिड्स थ्रू सेम आईपी एड्रेस, अगर एक ही आईपी एड्रेस से कोई एक टेंडर फ्लोट है, उसी पे पूरा ट्रांजैक्शन है हो रहा है, मतलब बायर एंड सेलर आर वर्किंग सेम आईपी एड्रेस, इट कैन बी ट्रैक्ड. ओके. सिमिलरली high price variation between offer price and reference price. Similarly, multiple procurement of same item during a short duration. मतलब buyer क्या करता है कि multiple product को procure करता है in a short duration. They supposed to set a tender, right? They supposed to float a tender on GEM platform, but उनको divide करके वो procurement करता है, right? So this has been watched by the GEM now. Okay. Participation through same group of sellers, right? So what we do in a tender, कि एक ही कंपनी के बहुत सारे वेंडर्स इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं एंड बाय डिफॉल्ट वो टेंडर उसी पर्टिकुलर कंपनी को जाता है. सो दिस हैज बीन वॉच नाउ. सस्पेक्टेड बायर सेलर कोलिजन, anomalous raising and closing of इंसिडेंट भी रेज किए जाते हैं और वो बैक एंड से क्लोज किए जाते हैं. सो दिस इज टेकन केयर बाय जेम नाउ. So inconsistent buying pattern also we are noticing. We are in under process of use of artificial intelligence detect anomalous cases. Even we have a collaboration with the Delhi police to initiate the action. Moving on to the next slide. So timely payments to the seller. The payment part is very important for the small as well as the big vendors. So what are the facilities are there provided to the GEM? Provided by GEM, the payment to be made within 10 days of time. तो अगर आप अपना प्रोडक्ट सेल आउट करते हैं, प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर्ड हो जाता है, once buyer accepted that particular consignment, आपको 10 दिन में पेमेंट आ जाएगा. So automatic generation of online provisions receipt certificate, automatic generation of online consignee receipt and accept certificate, automatic release of 80% payment to seller through GPA. GPA is what? A GEM pull account on 11th day. Whenever a payment is not made 10 days post CRC, buyer organization will be required to pay penalty, interest 1% per month for the delayed payment applicable since 1st October 2020. Right? So आपका अगर प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर्ड हो जाता है और 10 दिन में पेमेंट नहीं होता है तो 11th डे थ्रू जीपीए, अगर बायर के अकाउंट में जीपीए एनेबल्ड है, आपको 11th डे आपका पेमेंट 80% आपके अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर किया जाएगा. राइट? अगर वो नहीं करते हैं तो डिले पेमेंट के लिए 1% यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट बायर को एक पेनल्टी पे करना पड़ता है. दिस इज एप्लीकेबल सिंस October 1st, 2020. ओके, सो milestone based online payment is possible. So if I'll explain this facility, that is ICT, later on. So real-time dashboard with all information, including payment status, has been provided to all the secretaries and financial advisors. So they can see the payment status by all the higher authorities of government. Moving ahead to the next slide. Upload of price offer for space and consumables. Now this functionality is what? Now buyer can opt for bifurcation of the price offered by the vendor. तो अगर टेंडर फ्लोट किया है और आपने प्राइस ऑफर किया है, if a buyer wants a bifurcation of that price, he can opt while creating a bid. Right? तो आपको bifurcation देना पड़ेगा. Don't worry, जो आपका L1 का जो आपका अमाउंट होगा जो आपने ऑफर किया फाइनल टोटल अमाउंट, उसी पे आपको L1 डिसाइड किया जाएगा. Right? So this functionality available now. That next is installation, commissioning and testing ICT model. What is that? So ICT is category specific and is enabled for various categories only. So few other categories are available with ICT. So ICT is what? Installation, commissioning and testing. If enabled during a bid submission, the system shows ICT option yes or no. तो बायर के हाथ में होता है कि वो बिड क्रिएट करते समय आईसीटी इनेबल करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे. इफ इट इज यस, यू कैन सी इन दी बिड डॉक्यूमेंट दैट आईसीटी इज इनेबल्ड. सो इन केस ऑफ बायर ऑप्ट फॉर यस, देन सिस्टम प्रेजेंट्स फॉलोइंग डिटेल्स. Percentage of product cost payable on product delivery, that is 70 to 90%. He can select that slot. Minimum cost allocation for ICT as percentage of product cost between 0 to 20%. A number of days allow for ICT after site readiness communication to seller. So basically ICT is what कि अगर buyer चाहे तो वो आपका जब भी माल डिलीवर्ड होगा तब से 80% पे करेंगे और 20% आफ्टर इंस्टॉलेशन. तो आपको दो पार्ट में पेमेंट होगी. एक होगा पहला जब आपका माल वहां पे डिलीवर हो जाएगा और सेकंड आपका इंस्टॉलेशन होने के बाद. तो दिस फंक्शनलिटी इज अवेलेबल टू द बायर कि उनको इंस्टॉलेशन, कमीशनिंग, टेस्टिंग का पैसा बाद में देना है. तो राइट. मूविंग अहेड टू द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. Sample evaluation of product is possible. A provision for advanced sample of L1 is there. A pre-dispatch inspection, a post-dispatch inspection, various CQAs are listed onboarded GEM for pre-dispatch inspection. Enable accredited labs are also included on GEM for pre-dispatch inspection. Trial demo of equipment, heavy machinery also can be done at technical evaluation stage. So pre and post-dispatch inspection is possible on GEM platform now. Escalation feature is available to the buyer if the ticket is not resolved within the 3 days of time. So buyer can escalate that particular ticket. This is the URL. A feedback feature on GEM. So there is a feedback form available on GEM portal where buyer may give their inputs regarding missing features, performance, design, improvement, etc. to improve the GEM portal. So because of this only, we are landing so many of improvements on the GEM platform. So this is available to the buyer. Repairing and overhauling services. So repair and overhauling services has been made live on GEM portal for all the buyers. So features of adding any equipment, machinery, vehicle, etc. for repair and overhauling is being provided with the functionality of uploading scope of work in the bid. A repair can be done at the buyer premises, vendor premises as chosen or selected by the buyer. So this is the link. You can see the access the link which are the services have this option. Assisting MSMEs on GEM. So for MSME, we have taken so much of initiative, and you can see the few of them. So outreach and training teams to provide both offline and online need-based trainings and webinars to empower all sales across the country in their language and customized to their unique context. So as you said, we are already doing a lot many trainings with we have done so many trainings with FICCI as well in the past to promote MSMEs. So dedicated online learning management system is available. This option is available online on the GEM platform. The chat box, that is Gemini option, is available, so you can chat with the Gemini and you can seek a clarification of your doubts. FAQ sections on GEM homepage provides answers to all common queries arranged subject wise. So we have FAQ option, frequently asked questions, on the GEM platform, wherein you can search for your doubts. So question answer functionality available on the GEM platform. All new functionalities are available to all the buyers and sellers through section new on GEM. As already said, on a homepage of GEM, there is a option called new on GEM. So in that you can see the latest categories and services added on the GEM platform, even the latest things happening on the GEM platform. So even we have a business facilitator for each state. So I am representing Maharashtra. Similarly, every state has a one business facilitator. Some states have two business facilitators. The details, the contact number and email ID available on the GEM platform. You can visit our website and you can get the information of the BF business facilitator on the GEM platform. So we also have benefit to the startup. We have 10 categories, which is specially for startups, so they can upload their catalog in this particular categories created for the startups. We have almost signed an MOU with all the states of India, and all these states are actively participating on the GEM platform. So I'll just quickly go through the process of registration. So you have to visit to the www.gem.gov.in. Then you have to check the terms and condition. After that, you have to select your organization type, like proprietorship, firm, company. Right? You can register on the GEM platform either Aadhaar or your personal PAN. So you have to enter your credentials. If you are the owner of the company, I mean, if you are अगर आपका ही ITR signatory है, अगर आप ITR signatory है, तो ही आपको आपके नाम से रजिस्टर करना है, right? Once you enter your Aadhaar or maybe your personal PAN, then you have to enter your email ID, active email ID. You will send OTP. After that, you will get an option to create user ID and password. So it's very simple to register on a GEM platform. So what are the documents are required to register on the GEM platform? As a primary user, Aadhaar or a personal PAN. If you're using Aadhaar link mobile number is required. If you're using PAN, any mobile number is allowed. Active email ID, documents as per the constitution type such as CIN, PAN, DPIT, right? If you are an MSME, then Udyog Aadhaar memorandum number is required. Address details, which is you have to enter the as per the ITR document. A bank account details, you can enter the multiple bank account details, and you can make one account as a primary. In that, a transaction will happen. If, as I said, if your company size is huge and if you want to create a secondary users, you want to assign the role to the secondary users. So for that also, you need a Aadhaar number, mobile number linked with the Aadhaar and the active email ID of that particular your staff. So I'll simply, in a simple way, the steps for the registration. First, you have to register on the GEM platform. You have to create a user ID and password. Next stage, you have to complete your profile. A vendor assessment is available. Vendor assessment is mandatory for the OEM, original equipment manufacturers. For vendors, it's optional. After that, if you are registered as an OEM and if you want to sell your product as in a branded mode, so you have to provide the brand approval and OEM panel simultaneously. After that, only system will allow you to upload your catalog. It can be a product, it can be a services. So social inclusion, currently, as I said, there are 22 lakhs of sellers are available. Total 44 lakhs, out of which vendors are only 22 lakhs, out of which MSME more than 7 lakhs, startups more than 10,000, women entrepreneurs more than 1 lakh, and artists and weavers more than 1.5 lakhs. So you can reach out to GEM. We have a helpdesk team available. The call center number is available on the GEM portal. If you want, you can note down 1800-102-3436, 1800-419-3436. The team is available 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. From Monday to Saturday. This is our GEM office that is in Delhi. You can reach out to our helpdesk email ID, that is helpdesk-gem@geo.in. You can connect with Jamie for 7 hours. This is actually a chat box available too. So if you have any queries, you can ask Jamie. So be connected with us on LinkedIn, on Twitter and Facebook. That's all from my side. Thank you. Deepak sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil. I think it was an interesting presentation to go through again after some time, and I'm sure attendees here would benefit from this information. I think GEM has sizably grown and given a lot of new options, whether it is to do with redressal of any challenges buyers face, or anything to do with CPSC's front. So a lot of changes have taken place for good, and I think people can take benefit. Unfortunately, I'm out of time, so will not be able to take questions. But this whole presentation is available on the FICCI YouTube website. So one can again go back and refer this presentation if any doubts on the process or connects is required. So thank you, Nikhil, for joining us and sharing your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We'll move on to our third speaker, Mr. Rudra Mishra, who's from Tata Tele, and he will be sharing with us that how Tata Tele is helping MSMEs with various solutions and make them more digitized and digitalized. So over to you, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you, Deepak. First of all, I would just like to confirm if I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, I'm just sharing my screen. Please let me know if the presentation is visible.
Yeah? Sure.
Okay. Deepak, is the presentation visible?
Yeah, it's
This
visible.
is the presentation mode, yeah. So what I am trying to cover today is from a technology perspective, and I would like to, probably bring some facts, some figures related to technology in front of the esteemed audience. And why it is important for all of us to use technology, because it is the key to being globally competitive. That is a very, very important point. So, that's why I have titled my approach as the necessity of smart communication for MSMEs. And this is the key to global competitiveness. My dear friends, before I start this presentation, I would just like to take 2 minutes of your time to bring to your knowledge a story of a dairy farm. And this is a story of a dairy farm which has adopted a technology solution. Now, manufacturing companies adopting technology solution, IT companies adopting technology solution is very well known to all of us. Here is a dairy farm. In COVID times, it adopted a very small technological solution, IoT solution. The dairy is based in Pune. And friends, you will be surprised to know that they were able to increase their milk production by almost 60 to 70% with similar set of assets. When I say similar set of assets, they did not increase the number of cows. They did not increase the expenditure on fodder. They did not increase the expenditure on the quality of food that they give to their cattle. Having said that, a simple application helped them upscale their productivity by 60%. With this thought, I would start my presentation that the kind of impact technology can have, a small technological change can have on your productivity, on your profitability, and on your overall performance. Now, friends, we all know that SMEs, MSMEs are the backbone. In India, we have got the second largest base in the world. They are contributing to almost 30% of the GDPs. They are creating employment and they are on a consistent growth pattern. So that's something that is very, very important, that MSMEs contribute to economy, they create employment, and MSMEs have been showing consistent growth over a period of time. Now, while this is a good story, let me also bring some hard facts to the table. What have been the key challenges of SMEs and MSMEs in our country? One is, while we have been talking on ease of doing business, it still remains, while we've been connecting with SMEs, ease of doing business has improved, but it still has got a long way to go. So where we were, we have certainly improved. We've become more easier, but still there are challenges that need to be overcome. Adequate and timely access to finance. This is the biggest challenge of MSMEs. Today, MSMEs are faced in the COVID time by funds, finance, money related issues. And that too, it needs to be timely, because when the money is required, at times it is not there. When it is not required, it is there. So that's why I would like to lay a special stress on the fact of having timely access to finance. Technology, when I say MSMEs today are not leveraging technology to full advantage, it could be because of the fact that they don't have adequate information. It could be because of the fact that they have information, but they don't have finance. And it could be because of both. So technology is one area where Indian MSMEs are struggling. Branding and marketing. See, again, this is one area where I feel MSMEs need to do a lot of work. They need to market their products well. They need to brand their products well. And while they're in a B2B or completely a B2B environment, they also need to understand that branding and marketing plays a very, very important role in a B2B industry as well. So these are broadly the 4 MSME challenges that I feel are impacting our current MSMEs. Now, when I say we need to achieve global level of competitiveness, we are not competing within ourselves, we are competing globally. And according to a recent McKinsey study, one of the factors with which India's small and mid-sized firms can achieve global level of competence is by investing in efficiency engines, productivity boosters, low-cost automation, and other digital enablers to reduce cost. Friends, when I said that IoT application for a dairy farm was one such example where there was an investment into automation, into technology, into efficiency, which resulted in increased level of competitiveness, thereby benefiting the firm, thereby benefiting the industry. Hence, it is very important to keep on investing and evaluating your technology requirements. When I say that technology is the backbone, it is important in today's COVID scenario, post-COVID scenario, that technology be leveraged to their full benefit, because there are only two options. Either you use technology or you don't. If you use technology, you will stay afloat. And if you don't use technology, you may continue to do business. But then the ones who are using will get a larger catchment of the customers, and subsequently are likely to move to the ones who are using technology, because it is helping in the overall efficiency of the system. So hence this point of competitiveness. Now, while we have been talking about competitiveness, what is it that is there within the technological space that is available to us? And while we say we need to closely move towards the industry paradigm of 4.0, the example of a dairy farm that I gave was leveraging IoT capabilities that help in improving efficiencies of repetitive routines, moving parts, transit scenarios, so on and so forth in manufacturing. It is also important for MSMEs to really realignment of the skill sets of their workforce. Now, this could be with regards to automation, this could be with regards to other digital capabilities, this could be with regards to their overall efficiency on the floor. Now, this is something that probably needs to be looked at by the industry leaders, the MSME leaders. And then the third and the most important point is enterprise technology integration across departments. This is not only in one department, friends. You need to put this in across departments, because it will help in improving customer experience. It will help in cutting cost. An example that I would like to give is integrating asset tracking solution with CRM tools. Now, when you have an asset tracking solution, the kind of benefit that you get in terms of the movement, in terms of logistics, and if you integrate it with CRM tools, you will have a larger benefit being visible to a larger segment. People will appreciate the value of the money that is getting saved. So it is very important for the industry and the MSME leaders to understand that while we move towards industry paradigm 4.0, technology needs to get integrated. It needs to get embedded in all formats. Moving ahead, I would like to give you a few case studies. I don't want to talk big. I just want to say that, how enterprise technology integration, something that I was stressing so much, I was putting so much of focus on, has actually helped companies to improve their performance. Now, let me, without naming the company, suggest that there's a processing company. The company designs, manufactures, and plastics and metal fastening solutions. A very simple, small scale manufacturing industry. The challenge was they were implementing SAP and looking for a solution so that both plant users can access SAP. So they wanted SAP to be integrated. Now, what we did was at Tata's, we provided a VPLS kind of a solution and connected both the plant locations and users. Now, they were seemingly easy, well connected, and were able to use SAP across both the locations. So at the plant and at the office locations. This served. Now, what were the business benefits? This solution actually reduced the cost of hardwares, which was substantial capex cost for them. The customer can now have centralized management and can have access to the entire SAP features at the plant location, at the office locations, and now they are connected. So one is a cost saving, second is a better integration of technology, which has helped to improve efficiency. This is one example that I would like to give. I would also like people to, and maybe industry, to think on, the strategic moves for long-term ROI of technology. See, the biggest question that everyone asks is, okay, fine, yeah, I am an MSME, I will invest in technology. This is the kind of investment that will go. But what will happen? What is the kind of money that I'm putting? When will I get the return? Will it benefit me? If I put a security solution, what is the ROI? If I put enterprise solution, if I put ILL, what is the benefit? If I put smart internet, what is the benefit? Why is it better than a broadband? Now, these questions are likely to come. I would just like to put one thing, that technology ROI in certain solutions can be seen in an immediate manner, and in certain solutions it takes some time to see benefits. While with respect to the IoT solution that I just mentioned while I was starting my talk, the benefit was evident in next 2 months. So there was a cost of installing that IoT solution, and there was an increased benefit of 60 to 70% additional milk produce was there now, which actually helped to maybe increase the profits by odd 30 to 40%, which was clearly visible. So I say strengthening the supply chain across product segments with IoT based asset management solutions. This can actually show an immediate return on investment of technology. So when you're investing in technology, you will feel that, I've invested so much, but I have gained so much, and that too in short period of time. Low touch automation cases are also there, front facing solutions, updating your customer whereabouts, shipment, dynamic routing, critical. This is possible by leveraging IoT networks and, mapping their dependencies on human interventions. So when I say that low touch automation, I intend to say that, look, technology is impacting our lives big time. And ones who are open in terms of investing in technology will always stay ahead of the curve. So keeping the technical jargons apart, low touch automation and other things, the larger point is investment in technology will yield in some cases immediate benefits, in some cases long-term benefits, but benefits will come. I would say that again, there is a role of suppliers, and supplier collaboration is a very important part in any setup. Adopting digital collaboration tools which are driving negotiations and collaborative decisions at a faster pace and lower cost, so which help to probably connect well. Enterprise software technology, adoption of cloud-based solutions from the get-go can help SMEs to pay as they grow. So now a unified system where you pay per use. As you grow, you pay, you increase your cloud space. There is no need of on-premise. You don't need to invest heavily on CapEx, on servers, and then you can have a centralized approach to manufacturing. So even in COVID lockdowns, we observed that MSMEs and SMEs, which had certain level of automation, had certain access to cloud-based solutions, were able to operate during COVID times, while the others who didn't were not able to do because they had the servers installed in the factories and the servers were not accessible as there was lockdown. So it is important that we embrace technology and move ahead more so in the COVID era. Let me just finish this presentation quickly and quickly show you that there's an adoption of cloud-based technology and how this has helped. So there's a textile company which is into polyester and yarn manufacturing. They were building a disaster recovery center in Google Cloud and want all plant locations to be connected seamlessly. We provided a secure connect so that all plant locations can connect to cloud and access their internet applications. And with secure connect, you get an additional security benefit. So that was something that we did. Now, when I say business benefit, there was seamless and secure connection across all plants with higher uptime, thereby directly affecting productivity. That's more important. Now, again, I would like to say that, whenever you have seamless and secure connections, you have lesser downtimes, you have higher uptimes, productivity automatically increases. So the bottom line of my presentation is that with usage of technology, efficiency, profitability, performance, everything comes. And this is not what I say. This is a lot of data that has gone into the system, have shown over a period of time. There was one example that I quoted about a dairy farm. There are many more such examples that I can bring to knowledge, but I have limitation of time. That's why I have restricted to very, very focused case studies. So broadly, this is it from my end, Deepak. I think so I had 15 minutes and I have closed this in time. Deepak, you are on mute. It seems not audible.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra. I think a very crisp presentation. And I completely agree on one front that technologies, ROI, both in terms of, long-term and shorter term is important. And it plays a big role in today's, rapidly changing world. So, and if you're not adopting to that particular route, then it is certainly bound to hurt you in a longer term.
Exactly.
Talk about being more competitive, being more agile in a similar, space. That's where technology becomes a differentiator as well as an enabler. Hence, it is very important to see that, MSMEs also embrace, this technology. Obviously, there would always be a question mark on the cost, but I'm sure that smart MSMEs will be able to absorb the cost, considering that they would be able to recover their investment in shorter, if not in shorter time, at least in a longer period of time. And cloud being the leading technology at this moment, one should look at adopting those. So thank you very much. I think it was a great presentation and good information. Thank you very much also for presenting case studies, because that is what motivates us in terms of learning from others and seeing that, okay, this is doable and we are not the first mover out here, and we can also do it. So again, thank you very much. And also thank you to Tata Tele Business Services for being partner to our of our program. We appreciate being with us during the MSME week. Now we will move on to our fourth presentation, and which is by Vikesh Agrawal, who's from the Ajwa FinTech. I mean, again, that's another space where changes are being sort of brought in with the help of these FinTech companies. And Vikesh will throw some light on how their company is trying to resolve the non-core functions of MSMEs through their setup. So Vikesh, over to you. Mr. Mishra, I request if you can close your presentation, please.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Yeah, thank you, Deepak ji, and thank you, Vicky, for giving this opportunity to speak in front of this esteemed audience. As you said, Deepak ji, my presentation is primarily on the financial ecosystem. There are a lot of things happening on digitalizing the financial ecosystem, which includes accounting, GST, taxation, which includes even new age digital lending. So I'm going to touch upon all of this thing, and I'll also talk about the kind of transformational platform that we're building, especially focused on the micro enterprises, not really meant for small and medium enterprises, because they can afford technology at a higher cost, but micro is the segment which cannot afford this kind of technology. So I'll just share the presentation for the sake of convenience. Is my presentation visible, Deepak ji?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So as I said, I'm not going into industry specific high tech or all of these technologies. I'm really sticking to a basic technology just to start with, and to set some context. I'm going to cover what is digital and what is digitalization as a basic, then some context to the definition of the MSME, just to bring some context on what we're talking about, and then some basic tech learnings, and throw some light on digital platforms provided by government, and lastly the EMSME platform on the financial technology side. So to start with, just to start with some of the basics about the digitalization and digitization, and what is digital transformation. I mean, these are very, very basic. Digitize is basically converting any document from physical format to a digital format. Like nowadays you read Kindle. That's just a conversion of a physical book into a digital book. So that is so there is always a confusion. What is people interchangeably use digitization and digitalization as same thing, but those are different. Digitization is basic, I mean, just converting a physical data. Digitalization is basically use of technology to improve your process. Here, you are automating one of your process, like using maybe some, accounting software like Zoho or Tally. That is called, digitalization. which eases your processing time and increases your efficiency. Now, what is digital transformation? Digital transformation is actually, where you completely transform your entire, business processes, starting with, just to take a simple example, let's say your order management, your supply chain, which includes raw material, fund allocation, logistic, your, manufacturing process automation, HR automation, compliance and finance automation, marketing and sales. So when you actually, fundamentally change the way the organization is working, or entirely change the entire process, that's called digital transformation. Now but these are some of the things which we hear a lot of time about technology. I'm not going to really cover. These are the high end technologies which we keep hearing. This is not something what technology is. These are basically the use case, as Mr. Rudra just spoke in the last presentation about the dairy example, that how IoT was used in a dairy kind of ecosystem. So these are basically the means of technology. You should of course know about it, but you should ideally know the right problem statement, and what is something which can drive your efficiency, rather than knowing deeply knowing that what is this technologies are. I mean, just to lay some context of what I'm going to speak on the financial technology platform we are building. I mean, these are some of the basics how MSME is, entirely. What is MSME? MSME is basically micro enterprises, 1 crore plant and machinery investment and 5 crore of turnover. And likewise, small and medium. There are, there is, these are some of the sector insights. Many people have spoken. I will speak, but just laying down the context, because the next few slides are based on these data. So there are about 6.3 crore MSMEs, out of which 99.5% are micro units. This is the nuance of this data, and the problem lies with this lowest segment. And there are 2.5 crore traders who have been included in MSME definition with the limited benefit of PSL last year. GDP contribution, of course, 30%. And if you have to move to 5 trillion, of course, this sector has to adopt to the latest technologies. The contribution to the export, employment generation is a known number. I mean, this is a segment which employs almost like 22% of the employable population of the country. So, I mean, highest employment generation kind of segment post agriculture. And regional development, backward linkage, like some of the PLI scheme has been the highest scheme, although this is not meant for MSME, but it has a huge backward linkage. I mean, this all large manufacturing process cannot work unless MSME ecosystem is there, and this MSME ecosystem will not be able to reap the benefit if they are not part of this digital ecosystem, because at some point of time they will stuck in approval or in this entire compliance ecosystem. So this is some of the background. These are some of the large problems. What I mean, I've worked with 2 large NBFCs and remained at senior position. Like I was a CEO for a structured finance business of Edelweiss. I've evaluated more than 1,000 proposal myself, credit proposal. And what I realized is that the largest problem with the MSME is access to finance. And that problem dwells from this 4 core problem, which is unstructured accounting. I mean, I've seen the kind of account these guys submit. So unstructured accounting, non-compliant business. Again, the problem is twofold. One is awareness, other is affordability. So most of the time, the guy is not even aware that considering my industry type, I need to have these many compliances or registration. Or he will be skeptical in registering that my data will be diluted, or the government ecosystem will know about my business. Then low digital adoption. Of course, I mean, this has been the largest problem. Or the kind of central of the problem, whether it is unstructured accounting or non-compliant business, low digital adoption has been the center of the problem, and which leads to unreliable data for the banking, and that leads to the perennial problem of not being able to access the finance. Now, can MSME really stay into non-digital world or physical world? I mean, the things are rapidly changing in such a way that government or the ecosystem is removing all the options of being unstructured or being into physical ecosystem. Like, I mean, some of the examples, e-invoicing earlier, it started with 500 crore. I mean, a 500 crore turnover guy has to generate e-invoice from GST portal. That limit has reduced to 20 crore from 1st April. And this is the way it is going on. Government, will reduce it, to 50 lakhs in next 2 years. So I mean, he will have no avenue of hiding any sales or anything like that. Gradual reduction in limits of TDS. Udyam registration is completely digital. GST was launched itself, on a digital filing basis. It was never manual. The new ITR which has come, it has, robust AIS platform, which fetches 46 type of different financial transaction data from different sources. I mean, how will that guy hide now, including rent, salaries? So I mean, what I'm saying is, by all this, I mean, being in digital or structured ecosystem is highly beneficial, and people should go and adopt to the digital platforms. Just few basics about the technology. I mean, what has been talked about as the benefits of the technology is increased efficiency, reduced cost, expand market reach, enhance competitive. I mean, this has been generally spoken benefits of the technology. I mean, these are some of the benefits which are not generally spoken, but these are really, I mean, I put them, a more weight than the earlier ones. One is awareness. I mean, digital, once you go digital, you get access to a lot of, peripheral things which you will not even know if you're not digital. So it really enhances the awareness and makes him structured. It provides, access to a lot of government ecosystem which is already present, and I'm going to cover few of the platform which are already available, which the guy can only access if he's, registered and into digital ecosystem. Now, then discover sources of funds for growth. I mean, all these new age platforms, you take Trades, you take Gem, which has been just spoken about in detail, the new account aggregator platform. If you are not into digital ecosystem or not into structured ecosystem, you will remain into this perennial problem of accessing the finance. And of course, the biggest benefit, you are part of a digital India. These are some of the misconceptions, or I would say, why MSMEs hesitate. Do I really need technology in my business? I mean, entire periphery is all tech driven now. You don't have a choice. I mean, you should be part of this thing and take benefit of it rather than being into physical ecosystem. What is the right technology? I mean, there are different solutions available now at a very, very low cost, even up to the micro enterprises. And there are a lot of steps being taken by the government in terms of, technology centers and tool rooms, which provides a lot of help in selecting the low cost technology. How costly it is? Again, this cloud based, pay per use based technologies, these are really not costly. I mean, in that now new age technologies are more like, handheld, mostly handheld technologies. You don't even need PC to operate those technologies. Will I need a skilled manpower to run this? I mean, I'm going to cover this, but you really don't. I mean, there are examples I will give in the next few slides. Can I trust the technology? I mean, it is better than trusting the manual record. It is better than being into physical ecosystem. Am I exposing too much of information? I think not. Benefits are more than being into physical ecosystem. So where do I start? I mean, these are some of the basics about the cloud. Cloud, no capital investment, no heavy capital investment. You pay as you use. I mean, you don't have to really deploy a local server in your office and incur a huge upfront capex. So this is, I mean, cloud based technologies are best, and you don't incur too much cost in terms of and nowadays the technology which is being built is consumer tech. Consumer tech is, as I was saying, you really don't need any skill set to use those technology. Like, I mean, just to give you some example, have anybody taught you WhatsApp or Amazon? I mean, these were like we learned on our own. And similarly, these initiatives like Arogya Setu and COVID, this booking of this vaccine. Nobody taught you, right? You did it on your own. So consumer tech nowadays, all the technology which is coming, people are spending huge on the UI and UX part, and these are more like self-use. Now, data sharing, again, there is good API ecosystem, there is good interpretability of the data. I mean, just to give you some, again, people have a misconception that, how secure it is to share the data using this platform. I mean, I just give you a comparison. Giving a physical Aadhaar copy is far more riskier than just giving an OTP to an authorized person. Or the paper document can be copied 60 times, 70 times, any number of times. But once you give a digital kind of access or digital data, of course, to the authorized person, it is less prone to data sharing kind of risk. So it is far more secure. Data security, of course, I mean, all of this, once you are using cloud based or external pay as use platform, these guys spend huge money in creating these platforms as highly secured. And I mean, if you deploy locally or if you build something locally at your local level of server, you will end up spending too much on the capex. So use this platform. These are carefully built, and these are, the security levels are really, really good. Now, going on some of the platforms which are available, provided by the government, digital platforms, Udyam registration portal, fantastic portal. And now 30th June is the last date to register yourself as, MSME. All the benefits of being MSME, whether it is to do with scheme, whether it is to do with JAM, ONDC, all are linked to Udyam registration. And Udyam registration is mandatory. You need Aadhaar, GST and PAN number to register yourself on Udyam. It is the online portal, free portal. So you should go and register. 30th June is the last date. And the biggest thing is, even if you, let's say you want to hide, you don't want to register, that there is an implication of you being incurring a higher interest rate, because the banks who are lending money to you will get benefits of PSL only if you submit the Udyam registration certificate to the lenders. Hence, it is more like a mandatory, and the entire process is online. You have to just have 3 numbers with you, and you can fill the form in 4 minutes. JAM has been, I mean, JAM and JAM Sahai, which is the new app. It has been spoken in the last presentation. Fantastic platform. Government has been mandated to procure from this platform. And I was just hearing the latest data on this platform. So it started in 2017, and in initial 5 years the platform could get the turnover of about 1 lakh crore. Last year itself it was 1 lakh crore. So I mean, it's a good platform for MSMEs to sell their product to PSUs and CPSUs, and they're mandated to procure from this platform. 25% of their procurement has to mandatorily be done from this platform. Trades, again, is a fantastic a scheme which has been brought in, where there are 3 exchanges where invoice discounting can be done. Any MSME can go register themselves on the platform, and any of these 3 platforms, and can discount their invoice. Of course, there are challenges of this platform, but still better than having nothing. Again, you have to be digital. You need Udyam registration certificate to register yourself on these platforms. Then MSME Sampark is more like a Naukri.com of MSMEs. You get skilled resources who are trained on the MSME technology centers. So very, very great platform to hire people. India Stack, I mean, fantastic journey from Aadhaar to UPI to account aggregator. Accounting aggregator, which is more like a separate category under NBFC. Account aggregator, which is more like, I mean, if you are having your digital presence, the bank can really fetch the data directly about you, and it will really enable banks to lend to you. So I mean, it is fantastic. Again, and the next stage to this will be OKN, which is more like a open credit enablement network, which will enable cash flow based lending, which will soon be a reality. Again, Champions is a great platform for you to know about entire MSME ministry. You can take any kind of help on the Champions platform. Again, digital, and you need to have Udyam registration. MSME Samadhan is fantastic platform where you can log in your complaints related to delayed payments, and the platform is really working. I mean, of course, again, there are challenges. I mean, there are practical issues, but there has been good traction on this platform. MSME Sambandh is a database kind of a platform where you get the kind of public procurement. As I said, 25% of the procurement has to happen from this JAM platform. So this is the platform which provides data. The next platform is more like a data bank. Now, coming to some of the automations that MSMEs can do is supply chain management, logistics, social media, and digital marketing. So, I mean, this is the kind of ecosystem. Once it is automated, we can call that MSME, or the entity or business enterprise is really, really, digitally transformed. Now, one of the problem, which I really see is the problem from the micro enterprise perspective is, can they afford it? I mean, first to find out the right technology, and then can they afford it? There, I think something has to be worked upon. I'm not getting into this detail. This has been spoken in earlier presentation by Mr. Rudra, that this has been the 5 pillars which has been laid down by Prime Minister in 2018, which is access to credit, access to market, technology. So technology has been the center stage, where a lot of initiatives are being taken by the government, and of course a lot of associations on the to support the MSMEs. The recently launched draft national policy for MSMEs in India, that also touch upon the technology upgradation, adaptation. This paper also gives great detail about the technology which is being used across the world. Now I'm getting into what the kind of product we have developed to support the MSMEs. So now one of the product is which is I'll just set some context here. MSME goes through a different problem at the different life cycle or life stages of the MSMEs, and the government has come out with schemes or support at each of that life cycle level. And I'll showcase you how. I mean, let's say the business is at the incubation stage. There are a number of schemes which supports MSMEs to incubate the business. The second stage is creating a brand and quality enhancement. Again, there are a number of schemes which provide a lot of benefits, or a lot of times these are entirely funded under those schemes. Then support to provide competitive marketplace. Again, Z has been the fantastic scheme which has recently been upgraded. So a lot of incubation, brand quality, and support to provide a competitive marketplace. The next stage comes as a technology support. Again, technology support. There are a lot of schemes launched by government. There are 18 technology centers pan India, which are which have some of the industry specific technology related trainings which MSMEs can go register themselves and avail the benefit of those technology center. Then there are industry specific scheme related to technology. Then credit assistance for scale up. There are a lot of schemes to scale up your business. Trades is a part of more like a scale up or working capital assistance is a scheme. And then there are a lot of SIDBI schemes which are related to scale up of the business. Then comes, in the journey of an MSME, there is a stage called stress and special situation. Think of a COVID kind of a situation or any other stressful situation. There are multiple schemes which support this MSME on this stage also. Like ECLGS has been the fantastic scheme. 20,000 crore subordinate debt has been the fantastic scheme which helped MSMEs during this COVID period. Now, what has been the problem? The problem with the this entire ecosystem is that all of this information is fragmented. This is spread across 90 to 100 websites of the government, and and you will have to how an MSME go and search what is the real scheme or what is the real benefit he should be exploring. So that is where we have come out with a more like a MSME scheme discovery platform, which is very, very easy to use. I mean, the MSME can really come, they can input their basic credential. Either they can input their Udyam registration number, or they can provide their 5 credential, like their name, their geography, their age, their turnover. And just basis that filters, the platform will search across 500 plus schemes pan India and deliver a list of scheme which is meant for that particular MSME across verticals, across this life cycle stages. That what are the schemes which are related to incubation support, marketing related support, technology related support, all of this pillar. The guy can really choose what he wants. So let's say he is looking for a loan or collateral free loan. He can just click on that pillar on the right hand side. All the schemes which are related to the collateral free loan will pop up. The guy can and the summary what has been created in that platform is a crisp 5-10 line summary which the guy can read, decipher, and we have kind of embedded a checklist, ready to use checklist, that what are all documents that guy need to apply for that particular scheme, and where do he apply for that scheme. All of that is, in a very, very easy to use language posted on that platform. Again, this platform is meant to spread the awareness amongst the MSME. The next stage of this platform will be eligibility assessment. The guy has come, he has really explored what kind of scheme which he will require. Then after scanning the scheme, he can also he can click on that particular scheme, and then there will be some eligibility calculator which will come, which is built using a business rules engine technology. The guy will provide scheme specific criterias, and the calculator at the back end will calculate the exact amount of benefit that guy will fetch under that scheme. So let's say if the scheme is, let's say, more like collateral free loan scheme, stand up India scheme. So the basis the filters provided in the scheme, the guy will input his further credential which are specific to stand up India. He will get the exact amount of loan that he can avail under that particular scheme. So that is the eligibility check, which is completely automated using business rules engine. The third stage of this will be, we will try and integrate this entire platform to the nodal agencies who really disseminate this benefit, like likes of DC offices, CGTMSA related scheme which is disseminated through banks, or maybe NABARD or SIDBI. So we will try and integrate the application format also directly to their platform. So the guy, after assessing the eligibility, can directly click and apply to the scheme there itself. The benefit to both government and to the MSME is that it is a single window. The guy doesn't need to really search. It's a single window. It will do an eligibility assessment without the guy reading the 50-page document. He doesn't have to really read. It will be kind of auto check on the eligibility. Then the third will be, the guy can apply directly from this portal itself. The benefit to the nodal agency is that the application is already validated, eligibility test is already done, and the entire data is coming in a structured manner. So let's say for a bank related scheme, you need to do a GST analysis. The analysis is already done at the back end using the APIs and the kind of rules engine what we have built. So this is the one platform we have built. This is available on emsmesarthi.com. Anybody can go and explore. The second platform which we are building to transform this entire financial ecosystem, and the kind of framework what we have is digital, credible, and bankable. Digital, credible, and bankable platform is basically, the theme is basically considering that bankability has been the largest issue. And the problem, actually, because I've been a banker, problem doesn't lie on the bank side. Banks are highly geared to lend to this MSME because they get the PSL benefit. They get NBFCs get a higher leverage on lending to these MSMEs. So there are all the benefits banks has to lend to these MSMEs. Then there is this entire alternate lending ecosystem, who do the assessment basis some internal algorithm, like lending cards or new growth kind of ecosystem, who provide basis their internal scoring criteria. So there is a banking and NBFC ecosystem. There is this lending card, alternate lending kind of ecosystem. There is a third ecosystem called enabling ecosystem. These are the guys who provide API based data access to these banks and alternative lending ecosystem to enable them to lend to these MSMEs, likes of Perfios, Pro42, Finbit, ScoreMe. All of these guys either provide some bank statement analysis utility or GST analysis utility or financial statement analysis utility to this bank, so that they can input those statements which are collected from MSME into this system and evaluate the credibility of that person. What we are trying to do is, if the problem is not on the banking side, why to resolve on the banking side? Let's resolve on the MSME side. Let's make MSME structured. Why do you need this enabling ecosystem or alternate lending ecosystem or this banking ecosystem? I mean, why can't we enable MSME itself to produce that data which is needed to lend to them? And that is where the entire theme lies, is that make the MSME digital. And what a bank or a financial institution need to lend to this MSME. The financial institution need to assess three parameters: counterparty, collateral, and cash flow. These are the only three basic principles of the credit. Now, how is that information collected? The information is collected: counterparty Of course, this is all KYC related data, which is, your PAN, Aadhaar, driving license, all this data, which are now, being, the APIs, India stack, everything is, the data is available. You can virtually, verify all this data. Now, second part is, cash flow. Now, cash flow is the most important part, where the assessment requires you to analyze the GST data, to analyze the, ITR, to analyze last years of financial statement, to analyze invoicing, TDS and everything, and arrive at a decision whether the guy has cash flow, even basis the projection, the guy will have the cash flows to service the loan. Now, that is where we are building this platform, where we will first have accounting, taxation, GST, inventory management, invoicing, compliances, and MSME scheme discovery as integrated at one place, so that, there is an awareness about scheme, there is awareness about the regulatory compliances, and we have a synergy of compiling this all data at one place and giving this data, in a consolidated bank friendly fashion to the banks to lend to these MSMEs. Now, on the credibility part, so I mean, the first part is entirely digitizing the MSMEs and generating the credible data for the banks. The second part is making the MSME credible. Processing this data for the benefit of the MSME and and bank, and become a bridge between the banks and MSME. So our business rules engines, like as I said, auto scheme eligibility check, that backend technology is there which does this. Then, this automation of this nodal agency application form, MSME score based grading, in what a bank analyze will be done at our platform itself. Financial dashboarding, which will enable quick decisioning to this MSMEs. That has again been not realized by the MSME, but again a big problem. These guys don't review because they don't have a proper system or integrated system where entire data, whether tax, GST, compliance is available. They don't really take timely decision on the cash flows or the compliances. So there is really a need of this kind of central ecosystem which does everything. Now, the third part is bankability, where, as I said, now this entire enabling ecosystem which enable bank to lend to these MSMEs. Now, suppose whatever this enabling ecosystem does is done, by this one platform itself, like analysis of the GST, analysis of the bank statement. So what a bank requires in the bank statement is to analyze for, few data points like, defaults done by this guy in the past 1 year, the bounces, the bounce, charges levied, the kind of EMIs he's paying on the existing loans, average, cash balance or bank balance in the account. These are some of the 8 or 10 ratios what a guy analyze in the bank statement. What I'm saying is, because I have this entire data at one platform integrated, this entire data, I will generate ready data. The bank doesn't have to analyze. I will provide this as a ready, data. Again, GST statement, whatever the guy analyzed, the top 5 supplier, top 5 buyer, this entire data will be provided in a bank friendly manner on a click of button. Bank suitcase is something, I'll just give a use case here so that it becomes easier to understand. The use case is, let's say, the guy is sitting, the micro enterprise, the smallest of the segment, is sitting at the branch, and he's applying for a working capital loan. Now the bank will give him a list of about 30 documents to be collected, which includes GST, 12 mahine ka GST, 3 saal ka, annual accounts, or the TDS, ITRs of last 3 years, KYC documents, and the guy runs around. I mean, he will go to his CA to get the GST, go to CA for income tax data or for financial statement. He will go to bank and generate a physical bank statement for last 12 months. All of these things is not needed once you have this platform. On a bank suitcase, there will be a click of button called working capital application, and entire application in the bank friendly manner is auto generated with all the credit appraisal memo being auto prepared in what bank requires. So this is the kind of transformational things we are building to enable this MSMEs. Of course, the idea is three-point idea. One is affordability, second is awareness, and the third most important is that ease of using it. Ease of using in the sense, all of this technology what we are building is more like use it on your own. You don't need a consultant, or you don't need to hire a full-time CA to do the accounting. Like, I mean, just to give you again one example, the kind of accounting platform we are building is entirely OCR based platform. You don't have to really, learn, this complex accounting ecosystem. Let's say you have a MSME bill, electricity bill. You will just click a photo using your mobile. The mobile will, put the entire data, OCR will read the entire data. It will put the entire data into a framework. Business rules engine at the backend will recognize, what entry has to be passed of this particular, data framework, and it will announce on the app debit to electricity expense account. The guy, and he's in his language, okay, that the platform is multilingual. The guy will just say okay, and the entry is posted. So 70-80% of the accounting entry is kind of, do it on your own. So, these are the kind of, theme, ease of use, awareness, and affordability what you're building. This is it from my side, Deepak ji. Happy to, have questions if any.
Thank you very much, Vikesh. That's a very detailed presentation from your end, and obviously such kind of initiatives are required because, as you rightly said, that you really can't remain in seclusion and be out of this system of technology adoption. And without that, I think moving forward in competing itself, becomes a challenging task. So I think that was the message I was hearing, and also one more crucial message, that why always be a dependence on the institutions or government side. So why can't we have a structure which enables MSMEs themselves to not really go to that level, and so that enablement itself of at MSME end will be a great help. So I think that was a too broader message I heard, and obviously thanks for sharing multiple even schemes of what government is kindly holding to support the MSMEs. And I think sometimes it may look slow movement, but there is an improvement. So I think one must compliment on that sense, that with technology adoption and new initiative, a lot of things have improved. And some of our members also, do talk about this particular talk. So on the automation side, on the assessment side, and many other side. But yeah, I mean, we can't say that there are no pain points. So there are still multiple pain points. So how much we can sort of adopt technology from the MSME side to lessen those pains. I mean, that's something which one can look at by adopting to these kind of tools and initiatives by startups like you, and even the ONDC is like a government.
It's a fantastic movement, sir. ONDC, I just heard, it's a fantastic movement. I mean, having a good marketplace is a fantastic.
Right. So I think these are initiatives where people will. I mean, there will always be skeptics, who talk about the viability of this, but I think there will be enough people who would take benefit of this. So this is what is like, gradually we move towards enabling MSMEs and enabling the rest of the ecosystem on the digital space, and see that that benefits. So I think thank you very much for spending your time giving us this much of information. This, as I earlier mentioned, this is also available on YouTube. So we would again, circulate these links to our members as well as people who have registered with us, so that they can revisit these information slides and get benefit out of it. So so thank you very much again for joining us. And on that note, I will close the session for the day. We have 3 more sessions left. Tomorrow we are talking about the very important subject which you also talked about on access to finance and threads. How do you access capital market? What is the role of your credit scores? All these things will be sort of discussed and presented in tomorrow's session, which will start again at 2:30. So I welcome all of those people who have participated today again to tomorrow's program and benefit from these presentation. And we'll see you again at 2:30 tomorrow. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us, both our speakers as well as the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vikesh. Thank you.